Welcome to the DYNAMO Show. I am your host, James Erdt, the Chief Architect of WOW for the brand called DYNAMO Entrepreneur. We support experts in living well and doing good, not only in their communities, but around the world. Predominantly speakers, authors, internet marketers, coaches, all of those individuals that are doing everything that they possibly can to raise the empowerment of other human beings. And we have one of them here today. Her name is Jody Harbour.
Hi.
Hello, hello, hello. It's an honor to finally meet you for one. We've been chit-chatting on the phone now for some really great conversations, and I'm just amazed at, one, who you are, and two, where you're going with your product. But before we get into the product, let's talk a little bit about Jody. Maybe go back into your past, and how did you get here?
Ooh, my past.
Yeah.
It's always fun to go into the past because
This life.
This life,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Sometimes I can get caught in that. Yeah, you know, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, since my early 20s.
Great.
My husband and I had a business for maybe about 15 years, and then I ventured off, and that was actually in the textile industry.
Oh, cool.
And then I branched into the hairstyling.
Yes.
I was all about fashion, loved just being out there, and
how's my hair?
Yes, it's
That's
lovely.
good? Yeah.
Little, yeah.
I did it for you today.
Thank you. A little
Good.
shiny, but it's okay. It's hot. Still hot. Yeah, and I taught a lot. I was an educator with Paul Mitchell, so I traveled.
Oh, great, Paul Mitchell.
Yeah, it was
Fantastic.
amazing. An amazing company to be a part of.
Yeah.
You know, they're always empowering their employees, and it just an awesome mentor for me.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, it was great. So I did that for a bit, and about 9 years ago, I went on a path for myself and went to native land. That's my background.
Cool.
I'm a Cayuga woman.
Yep.
First Nations from 6 Nations, and I started a journey for myself. It was more about taking care of myself, because being in that, you know, always that hustle and, you know, running and go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was that.
Yeah.
And
was there like an aha moment? Was there like a spark?
completely. I had a son. I had my son. He was about 3 years old.
What's his name?
Thomas.
Thomas, very good.
He's awesome. He's
My nephew's
16
Thomas.
now. Yeah, Thomases are great. Every Thomas I know is great.
Especially the train.
Yeah, yes. Actually, I didn't like that. But anyway, he's a little sport guy. But anyway, when he turned, I actually was, I think, 3, and I just had this, it was really about my marriage, you know, and we had this business together. When I did the hair thing and made that decision, it was my marriage or my business, right? You know, like it's challenging when you're doing everything together.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it was more for our family unit to do that. And so when I really started focusing on myself, the creative part of the hairstyling, you know, it just opens everything up, right? And so of course I was.
So are you naturally a creative type?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Okay.
You know, until I went into that area and actually told my parents, you know, I'm going to be a hairstylist. They said, "Oh my, good for you. You always, you know, had this art." I was like, "Really? I had no idea," right? But anyway, yeah. So I did that, and so there was that time where it was like, "Whoa, I need to change my life," right? I wanted to be there for my son, and so it was more about connecting back to myself, and so I did that. I went and retreated and basically surrendered and asked the,
Oh, I love that word, surrender.
yeah, it really
Such
was
a
a
great word.
surrender.
Yeah.
I was invited by my yoga guru back then to go to a retreat in Caledon, and it was just this amazing. Right when I was driving there, I just felt this vibration that I was doing something for myself.
Very cool.
And yeah, and it brought me back to this place that I was. It was something that I remembered. Right?
Oh,
it was like, I was like, wow,
like
I feel
like a
familiar.
deja vu kinda?
Exactly.
Okay.
And so when I got there, it was just like this, oh man, I feel so, why didn't I do this before? And I didn't even know what I was doing. And so I did, I got out into the nature and I just was like, tell me what my purpose is.
Wow.
And 2 weeks later, I invented this bra.
I love it.
And it wasn't really a bra, it was a contraption at that time where
The breast rest.
The breast rest.
I love
yeah,
it.
The breast rest.
I love it.
Yeah, it's what it is. That's
Yeah.
all. It's what it is, you know. And so that at the moment that I thought of it, I was actually noticed wrinkles on my chest area, décolleté they call it, and I was like, wow, how did this get here? So I noticed when I was sleeping, it was from sleeping. You know that here we are restoring ourselves.
Yeah, I guess so.
And then we wake up
lying
and
there, crunched up.
and there's
Yeah.
we get wrinkles everywhere when
Yeah.
we sleep, right? We're doing this and that. So to solve this problem, I got up and grabbed pantyhose and tea towels and rolled up the tea towels and put them in the legs of the pantyhose.
Okay.
Tied knots and wrapped them around my breasts.
Oh,
and I was
interesting.
laying in bed and I was like, wow, man, this is comfortable. You know, this is great.
I love
And my
it.
husband walked by, he's like, what
What are
is
you
that?
doing?
Right? What is
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
And then 20 minutes later, he came back, he's like, what is that?
Yeah,
He
yeah,
thought, he was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
wow, this is great. You know, it's like exposure, whatever.
Yes.
And I was comfortable.
Really?
Right?
Okay,
And it
cool.
was just pantyhose and tea towels.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow. And then I started really like just hearing, I guess, myself, right? Saying like, this is good, sleep in it. So I was sleeping with pantyhose and tea towels for a couple of weeks, and then it just kept evolving. I was up late nights looking on blogs and conversations for
So you're
women.
doing your research.
All
Okay.
that stuff.
Yeah, great.
And then it just kept growing, you know, and it was interesting to me, and it helped me feel better. It was, and then it evolved that it wasn't just about the wrinkles, it was that it kept my breasts, comfortable. And so now, 7 years later, it's a product it's a bra alternative.
Full
and
brand, full company, full
full
product.
brand. It has a multi-use. It's very unique. So people are afraid. That's the one thing I
That's
get. Like,
interesting.
I get
Yeah.
a lot of people coming to my website, and I've
Curious, I'm sure.
of course,
right? But afraid to implement it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because it's something they don't know. They're
different.
unfamiliar with it, and
Yeah.
it's like,
It's the unknown.
yes,
Yeah.
and probably too because it's such a huge industry, bra industry. The only thing we know is the bra, and every time we buy something, we try something new, and it's like the most comfortable bra in the world, and you get it home, you're like, this is not the most comfortable bra in the world. I still sweat, I still squished, I'm still uncomfortable, I still have these issues. So as the products evolved, it's kind of turned into it's a bra alternative that's was made with all of discomforts of the traditional bra in mind. So you can wear it 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now,
And-
is there a manufacturer that you work with, or is this something that you guys manufacture yourself?
No, well, you like to think we manufacture yourself, but I partnered with an amazing company in Montreal called Montel, and they've just been so supportive in
Nice.
every way. When I first showed it to them, they were like, "Whoa, this
Yeah.
isn't what we do. We
Yeah.
don't know." But the owner brought in some people, influencers are in the industry, and they said, we've never seen anything like this.
Wow.
This has legs.
So this is like 7 years ago now.
This is about 4 or 5 years ago now,
Okay.
because I did deal with the manufacturer in Scarborough.
Yep.
Now we have it made offshore in the Philippines, but
Okay.
it is what it is. It's a great product that's manufactured. They take pride in their quality.
So what's next for you in the brand? Like, what are you guys looking to evolve towards?
It's been a really big journey for myself.
Yeah.
Right. So this transformation, the product really truly transforms
Yeah.
women, because it's from something that is, like we said, it's unique, right? It's something they don't know, and so the responses that I'm getting from people are that, wow, this has changed my life. This is really a transformative
So you have
product.
testimonials from women
testimonials
that are utilizing them.
Yeah, and people, I spend a lot of time on the phone talking to people, just troubleshooting with them, because it's different to put on. It's thinking outside of the bra. All we know, clip, put it on. But this,
do
you
any,
customize
like, speaking
it.
engagements, or do you know anything like that? How do you get the word out?
Well, right now it's just been social media based on, for my life and where I've been, I'm nurturing it the way that I can right now for balance. I also have a 6-year-old daughter now.
Yep.
So, you know, there was that whole time in my life.
Balance.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what being an entrepreneur is about for me.
Yeah.
It's not about the money anymore. I did that life. I did that a lot of years ago. My husband and I were, you know, that's all we did. We were jet setters, flying everywhere, doing business all over the world. And now it's like, whoa, we have kids and we want to be fulfilled. And
And obviously purposefully helping women. So if you were to share with our audience, you know, a few kind words about, you know, what it would take for somebody to get involved with one, you know, ordering one of your bras, or, you know, what it would do for them.
Thank you. I've worked pretty hard on the strategic part of ordering your product. It's different than a bra. So if you go online on our website, www.thebreastrest.com, you just go in, you have to do a bit of measuring, but it's a customizable garment. And just believe, take a chance, and just know that, that someone like you invented something that we need. And this is something that we need, and we've needed it for a long time, and we're just, you know, just get past that, that fear of trying something. Because if not, you know, I'll help you out with the return. We don't like to, and I've never had a return since. So I just look forward to inspiring you to take care of yourself.
I love it. I love it. Jody,
Thanks.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
This is episode 41. I am James Erdt. Stay tuned for this short commercial break, and we will be right back. And welcome back to the Dynamo Show. I am your host, James Erdt, the Chief Architect of WOW for Dynamo Entrepreneur. We are going to keep things going with Corinne Gillespie, our next guest. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Excited to talk to you. You know, I'm going through one of those challenges that you may encounter with a lot of your clients personally right now. So I'm very intrigued to hear what you have to say today. But before we get into that, I would love for you to maybe share a little bit about the journey. You know, start maybe in your 20s, 30s, kind of what happened, you know, in the early days before you got into this fantastic role.
Yes, so I think a lot of it actually happened before my 20s and 30s that brought me to where I am today. And so it has a lot to do with, I think, our innate personality traits.
Okay.
So I've always been very strong and very independent, passionate and confident, which as a younger person can be a challenge for the adults around you.
Yes, it's
or
true.
your peer group.
This is
but
true.
As an adult, it's really helped me through a lot of my challenges.
Any big struggles, any mountains that you had to climb, oceans you had to swim through to get here?
Yes, so there's been quite a few, but the big one for me was through my own divorce and parenting struggles.
Oh, okay.
So as I went through my parenting, I was 29 when I had my first, and 32 by the time I became a single parent when I had my second.
Yeah.
So I started my journey early in my parenting journey. I already was single, so that was pretty challenging.
What about your family, like way back? Did you have
Right. So my grandmother and my mother were also single parents.
Oh, okay.
And then it went back so far as my great-grandmother.
Okay.
When she came to Canada, she was a widow. So when I was with my parents, or sorry, I was living with my grandmother, my mother, my sister and I, and we were living across the street from my great-grandmother, and I had these really strong women who were forming my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, it's almost that I didn't have a choice into getting here because so much of my life was about being independent and strong. And so my upbringing was very independent and strong.
Did you have any like aha moments before you took this transition into this new part of your life?
Oh, I'm sure I've had many aha moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, when I became a single parent, there was a lot of deciding about how I was going to continue that journey instead of continuing a journey that had already been set by other generations, not just by my family, but by all of society.
Yeah,
and
true.
so I really was trying to carve my own path and do it my own way. And so I made some choices very early to commit to my children and their upbringing in a stable and happy home, and how I was going to do that for them. Yeah, and it was really important to me to make sure that I was financially stable, to make sure that we didn't move around a lot, and I made sacrifices to do that. And I was lucky enough from my own experiences in life that I knew how and what sacrifices to make.
That's cool. And then was there any schooling involved?
Yes.
Yep.
So I'm really lucky in the schooling that I got and how it was applied to becoming a single parent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess being it, practically being involved in it, that's the best schooling you're going to get.
Yes.
It's the university of the streets.
Yes, yes.
Firsthand is obviously the best experience, When you actually start applying this, when you began your business, what was the most exciting part for you, what would you say?
Listening to other people's journeys.
Okay.
My own journey is mine.
Yes.
And I've done mine and I know mine. But I really want to hear other people's stories, and I really want to hear what their experiences are.
Do you get both? Do you get men too, like coming
yes.
in? Yeah, yeah.
So primarily,
What's the percentage would you say?
Probably 80-20.
80-20. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at my message is primarily sent and delivered to women. So of course, mostly women will respond. But at the same token, I feel that I have a lot of connection to the men involved because it's not about gender for me as far as helping parents. It's about reaching out and helping the people to build happy, stable homes for their families.
And most importantly, their children, obviously, they're going through that journey.
It's for the love
of the children.
It's very hard
for children, right? I've gone through it myself. I've recently been divorced and, just going through all that with the kids and, the challenges not only physically with the children or financially, but also, mentally and emotionally what the children go through. Do they ever come and sit with you as well?
Yes. So, my clients' children do not. No,
okay.
I work with the
Adults.
Individual only.
Yeah.
And it's about them creating the environment for their children to bond with them.
Ah, okay.
And helping them to bond through this experience in a not negative way. So interestingly, my youngest was 1 when when our family was split. So she doesn't really have any conscious memories of our family being together, but I can tell you that a couple of years into the experience, she then started, having these moments of, where's daddy?
Of course.
And that's so very interesting because it was literally years in and she has no conscious memory before. But so yeah, this is not a process that is a final process. It's an ever evolving.
Yeah. Now, what would you share with them? Is there certain like drills or skill development that you do with these people?
For me, the skills that were really important were being on top of the financial aspects of my life.
Okay.
So some basic financial knowledge gaining and some access to that information. The second one that was really important to me was processes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know that sounds incredibly clinical or dry, but when you're a single parent, you have very little buffer or extra to give. So you need to be incredibly efficient in what you do. And so I scheduled a lot of things, and I made sure I knew my routes so that I could pick things up on the way. And so processes,
organized.
yes, it's an incredibly organized process, and that allows for more efficiency, which then allows you to relax in those moments when you have that time to just sit down, which does happen. I promise, it comes.
It comes.
It does come.
Now, when you're working with a young lady or a man, can you take those systems that work so well for you and do you apply it with their life, or is everyone an individual?
Everyone is an individual. I'm a person who really relates to systems and schedules and organizations. So that's my own personal innate attributes. So every person is going to take my advice or skill building that I'm going to do with them, and they're going to apply it into their life in their own way. And that's the important part. It's not about me imposing my way on other people. It's about making sure there's discussions.
Sounding board.
And that they know that they can come to me if they're having a problem, and I'll give them a solution that I feel would work, but that's up to them to turn it around and make it into their own, absolutely.
Now, where do you see yourself? Let's play the game 5 years from now. What's Corinne doing?
So I have a lot of big dreams, but my 2 dreams that I'm working on for give back, if you would, are the Shoe Diva.
Okay, I love it.
Yep, so the Shoe Diva is a woman, myself, that would go around and collect shoes that are gently used, or if there's stores that would like to get rid of their stock, I would take their stock and I would give it back to women re-entering the workforce.
That's amazing.
Right, and so it's one of those pieces that is really difficult to find at a reasonable price, and to get a few options when you're re-entering the workforce. It can be very costly. So that's my dream, is to set that up.
And how would the women find you?
Oh, I'm on the internet.
Yeah.
Yep. So I have 2 websites, well 3, but 2 websites that I operate out of. So yourxsolutions.ca is the business name, and I do my own personal blogging through the independentparent.ca.
Oh, very cool. Lots of writing. You love writing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
I've been a little bit sidelined this
Maybe
thing.
if you were to share, let's say, 2 to 3 nuggets of wisdom for some women or men that are going through this type of a challenge, what would you say to them?
Yes, I would say that the biggest thing you can do is believe in yourself. It's a really important part of the process. The other piece I would suggest is making sure that you reach out to the people around you already, and if you can't find them, reach out to me and I will try and put you in connection with other people in your community.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do you have any inspirations, like from people that you've, kind of modeled yourself after, or any personal development gurus?
I love single women who are successful.
Okay,
and
great.
so I have a few. Gail Vags-Oxlade is a financial guru,
Yeah.
but she's also been a single parent for a long time, or on and off.
Yeah.
She's been married a few times. Marilyn Dennis has been a very big inspiration for me.
And
She's
I know
a
you've been
single
on her
woman.
show.
I was on her show. I got a makeover. Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
That was a great experience, and to come close to her.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. Very good, very
Yeah.
good. Well, I must thank you for coming to the show. I
Thank
wish
you.
you all the best with your business and your life.
Thanks.
This is the Dynamo Show. This is episode 41. My name is James Erdt, the Chief Architect of WOW for Dynamo Entrepreneur, and we will see you after this short commercial break. Welcome back to the Dynamo Show. I am your host, James Erdt, the Chief Architect of WOW for Dynamo Entrepreneur, a brand that supports experts and entrepreneurs in living well and doing good. Not only those that are putting the oxygen mask on the community, but also, very importantly, putting the oxygen mask back on themselves. One of the things that I've got recently involved in is something called meditation. And I have a meditation expert here for you guys today. He's a dear, dear friend of mine, Mr. Wayne Mouland.
How you doing, James? Nice
Very
to see
good.
You, brother.
I am honored to have you on the show, finally.
Thank you.
I know you're a busy, busy guy with your new movement. We're going to talk about the Echo movement, part 2. What I'd love to talk about right now is you, okay?
Okay.
I know we have a very similar journey. We've had very similar path, and let's get into that. Let's talk about, maybe your teens, as you got into trouble a little bit, and how it kind of came out and how empowering that was as part of your story, which made you who you are today.
Perfect. Cool. Let's do it.
Care to share?
Okay, so I was born and raised in Nova Scotia.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
a small town called Sydney, in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. It's a beautiful place. However, I grew up in a rough neighborhood, right? So for me, it was different experiencing these things because I kind of got led down a path. I do take full responsibility for everything I did.
Good.
However, the music I was listening to, the people I was around, a lot of it was the music I was listening to at the
Really?
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
The hip hop that I was listening to, it kind of glorified, all these negative things. Like it glorifies being a gangster, being a criminal, being a pimp, all of these things. It just continually glorifies it. And when you grow up in an environment like that, and that's all you know, you realize you're in the frame of mind where you think, okay, well, I'm here. In order to be on top of this environment, I have to do this, this, and this. So I just thought I was doing what I was supposed to do, right? So it was kind of, the music I would say was the most influence on my life. So
What age group would you say this was?
This was like when I was 14.
14, okay.
Yeah, I was 13, 14.
And your family?
A wonderful family,
Yeah,
great family. My parents were wonderful. I can't blame them on, for any of this stuff.
Brothers, sisters?
2 brothers, 2 younger brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were they involved in the scene as well?
No, not really. No, not really. I kind of kept them separate from that. Yeah. My middle brother Tommy started to go down that road, but he kind of took a different direction.
Good for him.
But my youngest brother Brian, he never took that road whatsoever.
Okay.
I think he learned from mine and Tommy's mistakes.
From big brothers.
Yeah, watching our mistakes.
Yeah.
Right?
What to do and what not to do.
He was like, yeah, I'm not going to be doing that stuff.
Yeah,
he said.
yeah.
So it was good. It was good that way. So yeah, no, the family thing was great. It was more of just, you know, who I spent all my time with, right? Who you surround yourself with.
Yeah, they say the closest, 5 individuals to you makes the sum of your relationships.
Yeah,
it's kind of
absolutely.
how you evolve.
It's funny too, because after, years later, hindsight being 20/20, of course, I thought to myself, okay, now after I started learning about how energy and how our attitude, how we carry ourselves, how we treat people, is what kind of like paves the way for our future and what we experience. And after learning that, when I went back in time to
You learned that at 14?
No.
Kidding.
This is a long time.
I'm kidding.
This is not too long ago, actually.
Imagine knowing that at such a young age,
Incredible.
And I think it's getting younger and younger that, the population is actually learning this type of stuff because it's so accessible now. It's on our screens, it's on our internet, it's on, whatever channel we can tune into in some way, shape, or form. Awareness is around us.
Right.
So,
and it's incredible, like I said, because once I took that awareness and applied it in the thought of, okay, I took a certain period of my life that didn't go so well, right? And I thought to myself, okay, what was at that time my energy, right? How did I carry myself? What were my thoughts? What was I listening to? What was I watching, right? All of these things together collectively. And I added to, who did I hang around with? Who did I spend the most time with? And I asked the same questions. What were their thoughts? How did they treat people? What was their energy? And when I added it all up together, and I realized what happened to me at that time, I got exactly what I was asking for.
Care to share?
Absolutely.
Let's
right?
do it.
Let's do it. Right? So I was, like I said, listening to all this hip hop music. It was always about the glorification of drugs and criminal activity. So I fell onto that path.
I don't know anything about that, by the way.
Right? I think you're lying. I think you're joking. Right? So I ended up going into that direction.
Yes.
And was getting in trouble in Nova Scotia when I was a kid. And I just knew I was supposed to leave there. I had this calling to come to Toronto.
Oh, wow.
And at the time, I was going to make a difference in my life.
Okay.
However, I didn't know all this stuff about energy and vibration and all this stuff. So I ended up just carrying the same energy with me here.
Yeah.
And I continued on.
Same type of people?
Same type of people I would meet all the time, right?
Oh. So they would just show up?
They would just show up.
Magically. Yeah.
Incredible, right?
Yeah.
And I was talking about this earlier today too. Like now that I've changed my frequency, I still go to the same places. I still go to the same malls, same gas stations, same restaurants, same grocery stores.
That is such a good point.
Right?
That is such a good point.
I don't see them anymore. Now before, I used to meet criminals all the time, everywhere. Like I said, at the gas station, I would meet somebody. Oh, blah, 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 this
We're
and
like
that.
big magnets.
Right?
We attract.
I didn't know I was attracting this to me. I had no idea, right? So that's why it's a really, it's a huge passion of mine to get to the younger kids who are going through this stuff, who are making these mistakes and wrong decisions and terrible choices, so that they can be aware of that, hey, you know what? This is really what's paving my future. I need to pay attention and be present in what I'm doing here. And that's a goal that as soon as I made my journey, my enlightenment journey or changed my life, that was the first thing. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I had somebody back then to explain this to me now.
Right.
And I wouldn't have went through all those things. Got into selling drugs, eventually got into smuggling the drugs into the country, selling it to many, many people, which had a terrible effect on people's lives.
Has a ripple effect.
Right? So then therefore I ended up eventually getting addicted to the same drugs myself, karma, right? It was God showing me basically, hey, listen, this is what you're doing to people. Check it out and see what it feels like.
Not fun.
And I got involved with cocaine and ecstasy and some other drugs and stuff like that. And it was a challenge to break free from that.
And then the people, they get worse and worse and worse. You know.
Yeah,
They get negative, super negative. You know, when you rise up in those circles, and it gets very dangerous.
It does. It does. There's some dangerous people. I went to jail a couple times. You know, got to experience what it was like in there. Didn't like it too much, right?
No, not fun, is it?
Didn't like it too much, right? But
what did you learn in jail? You know, and I spent some time in jail. You know, when I was younger, I did something when my girlfriend, she forged a check. I went to go cash it. It would be fun to take off to Mexico, you know, and her dad and the police were waiting for me. So I was 17 years young, convicted as an 18-year-old. So I ended up in adult prison. Not fun for an 18-year-old.
No, especially if you're in an adult prison.
I learned a lot. What did you learn?
Well, I learned that the system is really broken. I knew that as soon as I got in there, because it was like more of a criminal network in there.
Punitive, yeah.
It was a criminal network in there. You ended up coming out, like you could go like yourself, you could be not such a bad kid, do something wrong, end up there. But because of the energy and the influences and just everything about the place, how it's designed, how it's set up, how you're held down, and you're not given any kind of basic knowledge to get you out of this hole that you dug for yourself.
Recover, to rejuvenate.
Anything like that, right? It was just more along the lines, I just met other criminals, and we would touch base when we got outside and do more criminal activity. Like, there was really no, I didn't see myself personally at that time when I was in there, for the couple times that I didn't see any kind of rehabilitation, any kind of support, besides, you know, giving you your meds every day. That was pretty much, and feeding you, that was the only support you got in there. You were just left to the wolves, right, to survive.
It's crazy, and it's just like they're building more and more prisons, you know, to lock up
it's
more
a business.
And more kids.
That's the problem. It's
that's
a business.
the sad part. That's the really sad part, that you know, a lot of people aren't aware of why these prisons are actually built and why they're locking up these kids, you know, because it is a business and they make money off it. And it's a really horrible thing.
There was even some judges, sorry, that I saw that were charged with locking kids up, especially in the States, just to fill the jail.
It's crazy.
Some of the stuff they did wasn't even worth going to jail for.
Absolutely crazy.
So it's, you know, it's a business.
Wayne, hold that thought.
Yep.
We're gonna go to a short commercial break. We will be right back with Mr. Wayne Mouland. This is episode 41 on the Dynamo Show. And welcome back to the Dynamo Show. I am your host, James Erdt, the Chief Architect of WOW for a brand called DYNAMO Entrepreneur. We are having an excellent interview with Mr. Wayne Mouland. He is the founder of the Echo Movement. He's going to tell us a little bit about his aha moment to shift from that life to this life.
Yes, well, I remember it very clearly, very vividly, like it was yesterday even.
Okay.
I had got arrested for numerous charges. Some of them were very serious.
Okay.
I'm sitting in jail, and my lawyer tells me that, okay, Wayne, they want 12 years. What?
Not fun.
He's like, yeah, they want to lock you up for 12 years. And it was for the first time in my life, and I had 3 kids at that time. I have 3 wonderful children.
Yes,
Kyle, Aaron, my 2 boys, and my daughter, Jasmine. Hi, guys, love you. And, you know, for the first time, I thought about, wow, what are my kids going to do without me? And then it kind of opened up the floodgates of like, whoa, wait a second. What is it that you're doing?
Yeah, what if they need you?
And then it was just like, is this really me? What you're doing here? And I realized, no, this isn't even really me. And like we talked about earlier, like I said, growing up in a certain environment where that's all you can see. Your tunnel vision, that's all you can see. And I just thought that to be on top of there, I had to do this, this, and this. I never ever thought about, hey, let me take it to a different place and do something different.
A different vertical.
Never thought of that before. So that really was the eye-opener for me. So I prayed. It was funny too, because I'm not a big religious guy. If you ask me what religion I am, I'm every single one of them.
Yeah.
I'm all of them.
I love it.
So this guy came up to me. I had no idea who he was. He didn't say much, but he handed me a Bible. And he said, you know, I want you to read this. He said, this part is for you. And when I read it, something came over me. I just began to pray. And I prayed to God, I prayed to everyone. You know, if you can get me out of this, I'll change my life and I'm going to make a difference.
What age are we at that point?
In this world. I think I was about 33.
Okay.
So we're looking at 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm going to be 44
A decade.
soon.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Don't look a day over 43. That's good.
Thank you. You're very kind. So that was it. So basically, I won the case, and as I'm walking out, they let me out. You know, I take off my orange jumpsuit and I get my clothes on, and I'm walking out, and I'm thinking to myself, "Wow, okay, this is it."
Yeah.
I had tears running down my face. There was no one else around. I had tears running down my face, and I'm just thinking to myself, okay, I have to make a change in this world. I have to change my life. And I started with I simply started with the power of positive thinking.
Yep.
Positive mindset.
Yeah.
That's all I knew. I didn't know anything
Great start.
else. Right?
It's a great start.
So
and you said it earlier, you know, taking responsibility.
I took,
you know, really taking charge of those, you know, decisions that we make, and get over the blame game, the poor me,
I was just going to say, the blame game is a terrible game.
It is.
There's no winners in the blame game.
Zero.
No winners, right? So I said, okay, well, you know, I started off there. I got a job. I was running gangs and everything else, so I knew that I could run anything. So I decided to run condominium corporations. A friend of mine got me involved in that. And I did that for like 5 years. I was doing 5-6 years. I was doing good things.
You had some success with it?
Yeah. I was very good at it.
Was it boring for you?
It wasn't boring because there was always something to do. However, it was a very negative environment.
Yeah.
No one ever comes down to the condo office to
Different
tell you
set of wolves.
To tell you how wonderful things are going today, right?
Yeah.
It was always this and that, and you know, there's
complaints.
a lot of policy and politics involved with board members and stuff like that.
Rules, oh my.
Right? And I didn't like it. However, it was paying the bills and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I was spending a lot of time with my kids, and I found myself slipping into a depression.
Okay.
I was having anxiety attacks. Like I just knew something was wrong.
Ever an urge to go back to the old ways?
For sure.
Yeah.
I cannot lie.
Yeah.
I cannot lie. When times got tough, I would
Very
always
tempting.
think, okay, you know what? Let me just do a move and make 20 grand, and I'll be all right for a few months. But I just, you know, you just have to breeze blow those thoughts away.
Slideshow them out.
Laugh them off.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Guide them away.
That's
you
it.
know, don't fight them.
No.
Don't try to, get away from me, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, just flow.
Just say,
Roll-
sorry,
roll with
no,
it.
you're not me anymore. Off you go. You know.
Send it love.
Send
say
it
goodbye.
love. Whatever. So I was unhappy.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, a colleague, took me out for lunch one day. And he says, Wayne, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here. Don't get upset at me. You look like crap. You don't seem yourself.
Okay.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
And he kind of like turned a little light bulb on for me, right? I'm like, okay, let me get vulnerable with this guy. And I'm going to spit it out right now. I'm not happy. Yeah. And it was all coming to me as he's asking me. I'm thinking, like I've always felt like, even when I was a criminal and a young kid, I've always had this calling, this feeling that I was sent here to do something important.
Something,
I never knew what it was. Never knew what it was. So I told him that. I said, I'm unhappy with my job. I'm not happy in the relationship that I'm in. I'm not, there's something missing in my life. My purpose is missing in my life. And he's
so
like,
working for the condo corporation wasn't your purpose?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Just making sure.
Although it was a good thing
Good
for
stepping
me.
stone.
I
At the
learned
time.
so much stuff.
I bet.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like running a small city.
It is.
You're the mayor of a small town.
Yeah.
Right? So anyways, he was sitting there telling me, he's like a humongous Christian guy.
Okay.
Right? And he's, I knew he was a big Christian guy. Even he said, he's like, well, Wayne, you know me. You know what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you to go home and pray to Jesus for guidance on what your purpose is here on this planet. So I said, you know what? All right. That's what I'm going to do. So I went home that night and I prayed. I prayed to Jesus. I prayed to Allah, Buddha. I prayed to everyone.
All of them.
Everyone.
Enchilada.
I left no one out.
Yeah.
I called them all on to, first, please, one of y'all, just send me my life purpose. Give me some direction on what my life purpose
And
is.
what's wild is the basis of all of them really comes down to the same thing.
It's all love.
Do unto others as you'd have done unto yourself, and love.
It's all love.
Pure love.
Right?
Right?
So-
Kindness, compassion.
It's incredible stuff,
Yeah.
right? So I went home that night, started going into meditation. I was watching it, guided meditations, started meditating. I was fascinated by the whole thing. It did immediately.
What age at that point?
This was like 3 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe
So
2 to
fairly
3 years
recent.
ago,
Yeah.
right? And I loved it. So as important as beginning the meditation, I started researching meditation.
Okay.
And I started learning all this
Science
affiliated
behind it.
information, right? The science behind it, energy, vibration, you know, manifestation. I was like, oh, I like this manifestation
Yeah,
stuff.
it's a cool word.
Right? and you know, an array of different
I
things,
bet.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, I don't like my job, right? Because it was funny, the very next day, actually, let me rewind. The very next day I went into my office after he told me to pray, and I prayed. I'm sitting in my office, and we talked about this before, I believe. I'm sitting in my office, and I'm watching a YouTube video, and this little ad pops up on the video. It says, are you stressed out? Unhappy?
Yeah.
Try meditation.
Oh, no.
So that was the very next day after asking for guidance.
Try manifestation.
So
There you go.
I went home and I started the meditation, learning about it. And then I realized, okay, I don't like this job. Let me manifest a new job. So for 3 weeks, I meditated on it. I focused on it. I visualized it. I was grateful for it, like I already had this job. I did all the steps, right? And lo and behold, three weeks later, as I'm cleaning up everything within myself,
Yeah.
I get hired by this company called Absolute Interior.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the synchronicity there,
Wild.
it didn't click in right away.
Yeah.
But because somebody was telling me, oh, I love what you're doing with all this stuff. You're really cleaning up everything from within.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I just got hired by Absolute Interior,
That's amazing.
right? So I'm like, wow, this stuff really works.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm in a meditation, and I'm very, you know, I'm very peaceful, very relaxed, and I'm thinking to myself, if I can do this for myself individually, what can we all do together collectively?
As a group. Now, let's talk about that because we've got about a minute left. I just want to talk a little bit about the ECHO movement. Why don't you share with our audience what is the ECHO movement and how do they find it?
Well, the ECHO movement is a meditation humanitarian group where we do daily guided meditations together, no matter where you're at on the planet. We have different time intervals throughout the day, 7, 9, or 5, 7, 9, 11, 11 a.m. and 5, 7, 9, 11, 11 p.m. in all time zones, where you can go to the website, which is echomovement.ca, and you can go to the daily meditation section where we have guided meditations, which are about 10 minutes long. They're not too long. And everybody jumps on to do whenever when they can, no matter where you're at on the planet. So the vision is to have millions of people until billions of people are meditating every day at the same time, no matter where you're at on the planet, to raise the vibration and energy of the earth.
I love it. Connecting 7 billion different universes. EchoMovement.ca. My name is James Erdt. This is the Dynamo Show. We've had Wayne Mouland on the show. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you,
and we will
brother.
see you on episode number 42.